Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Unofficial Podcast. Still don't have a proper title for it, so I think we're just going with Unofficial Podcast for now until something naturally sits. But today, you've got myself, Nickel, or NickH / Voreron / Darth Leathertooth, however far you want to go back, be it 10 years, 12 years. We have TouchySquirrel, aka Callum. We have Lucy, aka Lucy. We have William, aka Big Chungus. We have George, aka I Love Anime, or Speedy Koval. And he's a big anime lover, I know. And we have Danyeet Dayito, aka Kyle.
I will
How
have
are we all?
my full name. I will have you know. I want it on the record. My full name is Danyeet Dayito Yi.
I couldn't see the Yi, in Discord. I couldn't see it. But how are we all today?
I'm very good. I remember when Kyle was making Discord. We were gonna be playing a game. It might be Minecraft or something. And Kyle didn't have Discord, so we were waiting for him to make a Discord. And he was like 20 minutes saying like, "Oh, I need the perfect name." And quite apart from the fact that I kept saying to him, "Listen, you can change it afterwards. It's not like you're stuck with it." I wait flipping 20 minutes, half an hour for him to come up with a username. And then he comes up with flipping Danyeet Yi.
To be fair, it is a really good name.
I waited half an hour for this.
It's a very good name.
What you did,
Definitely
worth it.
because I was puzzling over that for 20 minutes, but the feeling of when I got that when I fished that big fish right out, that big idea, when I fished that out, you should have seen how I was like, Jasper,
You
I
can't even
got
put
it.
into words.
I got it, and I was so goddamn happy with myself.
But back
And it's
to
so
the future or
much
something.
better
By
than
Scott!
Yeah.
Great Scott! I have the perfect username.
Let's see. See, that's mine.
It's like a soft re.
Lucy has more Y's in her
Jogober.
name than Lucy has more Y's in her name than I have C's when I spell thick.
She's
There it is.
that thick, Lucy.
No, that wasn't what I was saying. That was all
Wow,
you.
okay.
That was all you.
It's because I actually changed it. It did have less Y's, but then because I changed
Yeah.
it to Lucy Dark Green from on Tuesday when we were playing Among Us, I had to add it back, and I just got a bit distracted when holding on the Y button.
Fair enough. Now, I will say, flipping.
Here, don't scientists hold on the Y button?
Why?
That's almost as bad as B-movie.
That's just the human race.
Yeah.
When I see the
guess.
human race, I too often
Homo
wonder why.
sapiens.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
No.
No, I
Sorry,
don't think
bad
you
joke,
do.
I'll
I know.
come back.
Liam
I
Gallagher.
wonder
Is
how.
it
No, it's
Liam
how.
or no?
I wonder why.
Is it Liam or no?
Both.
No. Well, Liam and Noel Gallagher would be turning in their graves if they were dead.
No.
No.
They'd be suing us.
They'd be suing us. Oh yeah. Don't even play a second of Wonder Woman. We'll get copyright by UMC.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
Or you could say,
It's
I
going to be
wonder
the day.
how. I wonder why. Yesterday you told me about the blue sky.
I wonder why I'm getting hit by a copyright rule.
Fair dues.
I like it, Callum. Doesn't even sound like it.
I can't monetize the videos anyway, so
No, it doesn't matter for you.
Maybe we get like a copyright strike from William Shatner, who was in the process of writing that spoken word version.
I was about to say what? Just because we are speaking words and he does spoken word stuff. So
Yeah, it's like, well, put it this way, like, what artist has not put out like some kind of lockdown, written song or whatever? I'm just waiting for the William Shatner one.
I'll have you know, I have enough dignity to not write a song and post it about lockdown.
I'm trying to
Well, not
forget
about
that.
lockdown.
I'm trying to
I'm
forget
not-
that, Kyle.
Not,
I'm
Don't
sorry.
remind me of the flipping Imagine thing.
not
George.
necessarily about lockdown,
Nicole,
but
you
like
done
Matt
it.
Bellamy did
Really
a song.
stoop that low.
John Bon Jovi, and in fact Bon Jovi in general, wrote a song that's called "Do What You Can," and it's literally
It's
about
shit.
lockdown.
Oh, I
It is
fucking
shit.
hate it.
But there's a lyric in it and I will keep my social distance.
Yeah.
This world just needs a hug.
Yeah. Oh, it's awful. Anyway,
Awesome.
Carl, you're saying Matt Bellamy was like doing like.
Oh yeah, Matt Bellamy did a song like early in like lockdown. I mean,
His musings on lockdown, was it?
I don't know. I can't actually remember what it was like. I just remember it wasn't like bad. It's just
Shit.
the kind of Matt Bellamy thing I'm not like amazingly keen on. But it was very.
I don't know
Matt
if you
Bellamy.
missed it or if it was just really that shit. His musings on lockdown.
I got it. I didn't say anything because Carl's
Fair
still
enough.
talking. So, but yeah, guys. So, one thing I want to touch on just before we get going into more meaty stuff is capitalizing on. I got funny.
TikTok funny.
From last week's podcast, or hopefully last week's, depending on when this is released.
The previous podcast to this one.
The previous podcast, yeah. We were speaking a lot about music and about what the world would be like without music.
And today you have come dressed as a conductor.
And today I have somewhat come dressed as a conductor, and there is a reason for it. You've probably all been wondering why I'm in a black shirt and a nice wee suit
You've
jacket.
got an entire orchestra in that cupboard.
And well, I mean, karaoke is Japanese for empty orchestra, so
this is true.
So George can verify that. And anyway, so this week, now this is week beginning the 5th of October in 2020. Over the past 2 weeks, there's been a lot in government going on about budgets and supporting professionals. And one of the big things that came out from this week was Mr. Chancellor Rishi Sunak.
Oh yeah, he just went out and said, haha, fuck musicians.
Basically, yeah.
I did hear that. Has there been like a latest budget or something?
So basically, in Parliament, he said that freelance people, especially those in the creative industries, should do something else in the meantime and should retrain into more viable jobs. That's basically what he said. Now, I've got his Twitter feed up right here because I spotted he posted a tweet last night trying to basically distance himself from that. And it doesn't distance itself from it at all. It shows exactly what he said. And while he didn't explicitly say the word retrain, he implied it. Essentially, freelance musicians, especially those in orchestras, are peeved off because that's their main source of income. And especially freelancers who are singers, like myself. While I'm not a freelance singer because I'm not quite good enough, it's one of these things that gets to myself and quite a lot of people that are in my friend group. And I think that everything that's gone on this week is a complete atrocity. And the fact that he's telling people to retrain into more viable professions is not. It's not a good thing for a chancellor to be saying for a start. Like, I understand.
Chancellor.
Cancel Chancellor. Cancel Rishi Sunak.
I mean, this just feels like a return to form now. Because when sorry, let me get my thoughts. When coronavirus started, everybody was commenting that it's such a weird kind of state of events. That it's the Conservative parties that are now paying out all this, welfare money. That, it's caused the Conservatives become leftier than Labour really ever have been. But, now they're back to their usual antics, and the Chancellor is fucking over the art industry. So, something is returning back to normal. In that the Conservatives are...
Yes, exactly. And to note on top of that, it's not just theatre and music and live creative industries that are hurting. It's also film industry is also hurting badly. This week, the new James Bond film, No Time to Die, has been pushed back. And so have many other movies. The new Batman movie with Robert Pattinson in it, that's been pushed back. You've got the one that John Krasinski directs. That's been pushed back a wee while ago though to April. But as a result of this, Cineworld, who's one of the largest cinema companies in the UK and further afield, have decided to cease operations until cinema becomes a viable industry again, which is unlikely to be the case for quite some time, given the production demands, especially on films like the new James Bond and films like Marvel movies and all that, you know? So it's every creative industry. So what
I feel a little bit less for cinema organizations.
I do as well.
Strike quite so close to home.
Yeah, because they tend to make a bit more money per movie, of course, than we do per show with professional music and theatre. It's one of these things that just, in general, it gets to me and quite a few others. And one of the things that they're trying to campaign people to do is take even a day. Don't listen to music. Don't watch a movie. Don't watch any TV. Don't watch any form of entertainment. Anything. Don't look at any art, things like that, and see how you feel at the end of the day. You know?
I normally do. That's my normal day because I'm working. So, and yeah, I feel like shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, don't go and tell us that arts and creative industries is not a viable career path and that it's not a viable industry, and then go and use that as your entertainment, basically.
Yeah.
So I was kind of joking to a friend earlier on that we should cut Rishi Sunak's broadband and disconnect his mobile service just so that he sees and take away all his CDs and vinyls and stuff that he'll have lying around and all his books and stuff, you know. This is a wee joke, though.
I mean, I'm by no means defending the Conservative Party, but I think it's a truth universally acknowledged that, in general, global pandemic or not, it's the famous joke of, you know, the actor being a waiter, isn't it? The art has always been a tricky industry to make financially viable.
Yes, and that's why those who are able to, the freelancers in orchestras and choirs and opera companies and the like, are very much angry with what he has said, because they have worked their arses off. They've worked their arses off to be able to be where they are and to be able to be viable. You know, they've worked to do that.
You know, I'm just gonna throw out. It's also a point that shouldn't be missed. That basically at this point, I don't think you can justify saying that any kind of industry is, you know, not at all like viable or whatever.
No.
If you say that about the arts industries, considering you've got, you know, billionaire CEOs of big retail chains who just get money thrown at them when this kind of thing happens, and you know, you got I always blank on his name. Amazon.
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos, yeah.
You know, making money, like profiting even more around this,
and not giving any of that back
like,
to the economy to support people in the pandemic.
And even then, asking governments for more money, and then they'll get the money, and the arts won't.
More often, and what's more often than not, they'll fly into Britain to meet the Prime Minister on, you know, private jumbo jets to ask for a bailout because we've not got any money.
Yeah.
And on that point, Kyle, I may have said this either on stream or on one of the podcasts. If I have, and I am repeating myself, I apologise. But and also talking on what NickH was saying, or rather what NickH was saying, Rishi Sunak was saying, that's exactly what happened with me. I was a freelance, hopefully still am in the future. I was a freelance theatre technician. But obviously when all the theatre jobs dried up, what else can I do? I can drive. Now I'm a delivery courier. That's what I'm doing now, but that's not my first choice. And the courier company, which had a lot of good PR at the start of the coronavirus, because they'd put aside £1 million kind of fund to help the couriers that need to self-isolate. Now, that's all very well and good if there weren't around about 200,000 couriers. Which, you know, if I'm doing the maths correctly, that's about £50 for each courier. Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah. £50 is going to do me... I can survive on £50. That'll pay my rent and food for 2 weeks, won't it?
Yeah. What most companies that were still going to be in business were looking at is what percentage of people are likely to need to self-isolate, and then going from there.
Yeah,
but,
it's just and also they were another one that they have profited so much, because obviously everybody at lockdown deliveries online shopping rocketed, and so obviously being one of the biggest delivery companies, they massively profited. And so £1 million is probably like 1% of their quarterly profit.
Yeah.
And as I say, it was for cynical good PR, because, you know, we've put aside £1 million fund, that sounds like so much, but as I say, when you crunch the numbers, it's really nothing.
Yeah.
Can I just pile up that, because once you mentioned Rishi Sunak, I went on his Twitter.
Hey!
Right? This guy did a Q&A on the obvious site for Q&As, which is LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Reddit. It's like, it doesn't know.
Rishi Sunak does not know what Reddit is. He's not cool enough to know
my
what that
name's
is.
Rishi Sunak. I fuck
Me
the
on the
country.
other
Ask me
hand.
anything.
It's because people on Reddit are cool, yeah.
Exactly.
Me, on the other hand, I live in one of the coolest districts in the world.
As proven by a dodgy website.
I kind of
by
want
a
to
dodgy
see
website.
just to see the beautiful chaos.
The new TikTok.
Sorry, Kyle?
I hear
TikTok.
LinkedIn's the new TikTok.
LinkedIn is the new TikTok.
Professional TikTok.
That's already a thing, George.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Professional thoughts.
Influence.
But that's OnlyFans.
Serious question: should I become an e-boy?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Depends if
100%.
you're becoming an e-boy from a gaming sense or an e-boy from a electronic sex point.
So, Rishi Sunak is gonna be gone soon.
This has nothing to do with porn, right?
Oh god, I
No.
hope
Yeah, we're going to cancel him. Like
Rishi
No,
Sunak.
George.
Rishi-
George, this is
With
LinkedIn.
5
There's
C's.
still potential there.
Wait. He posted on LinkedIn.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. What were some of the questions that he asked? What were the questions and answers?
I don't know.
Oh,
I've
question
not done my
and answer.
research. He just tweeted like, "I'll be answering people's questions on LinkedIn."
Wait, is this like right now? Is this recent?
No, it was before the tweet NickH was talking about.
Oh, okay. So I thought you meant like if this is in like the last half an hour, it's like let's see if we can get like a live podcast like answer. Obviously, it won't be live on the when it comes out.
I mean,
but
that'd be crazy if it was like, you know, what's this 4th episode in, just being like interview with Rishi Sunak. How many questions do you have to ask before it's considered an interview? Like if I go onto like the AMA Reddit and just like pick somebody, how many questions do I need to put in that AMA before we can call this like an interview podcast?
None.
I'd say 4.
Or
4 seems like
2.
well, we
Nine.
do have a guest
No,
in the
I feel
lineup.
like
Remember?
2.
9, and if he gets one wrong, then one of his 9 lives is gone.
2 questions can't be the minimum, because then it's like, hi, what's your name? Who are you? 2 questions done.
That's 3.
Hi, how are you? Did you have trouble
Hi,
getting
isn't
here?
it
Because
Thank you
hi is
for
a
the
question.
interview.
Hi is... I wasn't counting hi. Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello? What?
No,
I don't think
Hello?
hello was a
Hello?
question. Just,
Is it me you're
Hello?
looking
If you're
for?
speaking on, yeah, like if you're on,
I can
if you're
see
doing it
it
like
in
a
your
virtual interview,
Yeah,
then you
hello,
gotta.
is it me you're looking for? There you go.
That's one question. Yeah.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I was
Exactly.
wondering
That's two questions right there.
I feel like you need to, you can't waste time with like, how are you and all. I feel like you need to make wild assumptions that lead on to wild questions if you're limited to two. Like you
Yeah.
need to,
So the first question should be something like, "Where did you put the body?"
I was gonna say with no
And
prompt.
what
you
rug
just
did
go,
Archer give you?
like
Badumch.
with no prompt, you just need to go straight in there and say, "What are your thoughts on the allegations?" And then just wait for
Your Highness.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then you say, "Get swifty."
Just dab in front of
Get
Prince Andrew.
Thrifty or get swifty?
Get
But-
swifty. And
What
then
do
you
you
sit
think of
on
the
the floor.
allegations that you shat on the floor and got swifty in here?
Oh, I
Oh,
don't
I'm gonna
care.
have to cut all
Life
this.
is meaningless. We jumped the shark in about season 2.
Yeah, it's kind of a yeah.
Come on, let's be honest. Rick and Morty is
Yeah.
crapper now.
Rick and Morty is like
Oh.
Oh
no.
It jumped the shark at season. Like it jumped the shark at the end of season 2.
No,
start of
it's still
season
good.
3. It hasn't
It
been
is
good since
certainly
season
still
3.
good.
I really like the first 2 seasons.
That's what I'm
can't
saying, yeah.
I
remember
don't like the
anything-
new one.
any.
Mm.
I don't even know what happens in the new one. I can't remember. I watched it all, but
They got
I have
to.
no idea what happened.
They got to. But they listened to the fans, and that's the worst thing they can do. Because like
Yeah.
everybody.
they did.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
I don't think they did listen to the
No,
fans.
because everybody was like, "Oh, it's so nihilist and it's so smart," and it was. But then it just became about, "Oh, Rick Sanchez is the smartest man in the world," and "Oh, life has no meaning," and "Oh,
Morty
look,
dies
look,
all
look,
the
look
time.
at us,
It's
we're so
not.
smart."
If you
I'll tell you what the problem is for me. They can still make a funny episode, but for me, a lot of the kind of the actual depth and real content to it is gone because season 1 and 2, right? I mean, obviously, Rick is a bad person, but then you'd have the moments in season 1 and 2 where he would show just these moments of like a little bit of development and a slight promise of some kind of development along the way. But obviously, to make the show's format work, he must never change. Because that's the whole core
I
of
would
their sense of humor
argue
is that he can
that
never
this-
change.
this
So
new
they've just-
season, the old man in the toilet seat or the old man in the seat, he does show some change.
I
yeah,
actually hate that
If
episode.
you watch,
It was so lazily
if you've not
written.
seen it, you wouldn't know. But they genuinely do develop his character.
No,
and
that's-
Okay.
they.
Oh wait, no. I'll tell you.
That's the
I
one.
like
Yeah,
that.
with the
That was a good episode.
Rick gives
I
him
like
his
that
fucking
bit.
toilet planet or whatever.
I like that bit, but the thing
Yeah.
is,
That's so
Oh yeah,
You
yeah. No,
so
I know.
get
what you
lazily
mean.
like
written.
the thing is, right? I enjoyed that, but you get those moments put in here and there, but they never lead to anything. Because narratively, they cannot do it. Because imagine what the show would be like if Rick did actually develop.
Yeah, that's the.
If Rick was
They'd
just a
actually
nice
have to
person
evolve the
overall.
show. Like BoJack Horseman evolves over time because the character changes over time and does really like fucked up stuff that would naturally change it. But
mean,
Rick and Morty,
He is an old man.
yeah, but Rick and Morty, they found well, you see, that's what BoJack is kind of about, is this aged actor who, you know, tackles this concept of changing throughout life and, you know, things in life changing. Rick and Morty could do a similar thing with Rick, but they have that formula that they know works in terms of comedy, and it can still be funny, but they can't really take it anywhere without changing the show.
BoJack.
So I think perhaps they feel restricted into the formula that they used in season 1 and 2, and it's starting to wear thin.
BoJack
Maybe
is
I come at entertainment from a different perspective, but I don't miss the development there. I've just been enjoying it for what it is, rather than wanting
yeah,
it
I
to be
can-
something it's not.
the thing is, I can still enjoy the humor of it. I still think there's some funny stuff in it. It's just I felt like the first 2 seasons also had a certain heart to them that I thought maybe they're going somewhere with this, and I just kind of. It's not that it didn't. It's not that it just suddenly stopped being funny. I do think some of the humor isn't as much my kind of thing now. It feels a bit off to me, but it's also the fact that like I don't feel like I'm progressing anywhere by watching it now. So I
No.
just kind of
Fair enough.
I got a little bored of it. It's still of quality, but it's just there's not that promise of something new down the line.
It lost its subtlety, it lost its depth, like you say. It all just everybody essentially became Rick. Now let me explain. The thing that you need different characters to contrast the main character and to kind of shine a light against. Because what made it so good was that it was essentially a dysfunctional family drama, and Rick was also in it, kind of thing. Because you had the whole like divorce with Jerry and Beth. I want to say Summer, but that's the daughter. And then you had Summer who just wanted to kind of bond with her grandpa. And then obviously you had Rick and Morty was different from Rick, and it was Rick Rick was just kind of dropped into this kind of circle of, dysfunctional family. And those characters played off each other, and that's what gave it depth. But as I say, from about season 3 onwards, they all essentially became Rick. They were all like, oh yeah, nihilism, oh, flipping everything sucks. And so...
Maybe because he's so influential.
And so,
them, if you want to...
What's influential is the fans. It's the same thing with Sherlock.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Everybody
was saying from about season 2 onwards, oh, we love Sherlock, and so they thought, oh, we ought to write it more around Sherlock's character, and that's what made it shit.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the first seasons of Sherlock when it was like, oh look, this person's just come in, and here's a story about them. Like Sherlock's just kind of there to do that story. It's the same
Supplement
of,
the
like,
story.
That's all it ever
it's like
was.
the same with the character around.
Arthur Conan Doyle didn't care about Sherlock Holmes as a character. He was just there as a vehicle to put forward a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
They were mystery books. You wanted to solve the mystery. Sherlock Holmes as a character was never meant to be anything big. It was just, oh yeah, he's there as well because I need somebody to tell the story through.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a mystery. Who's investigating? We don't care about him though. We care about what the mystery's about.
The interesting thing about Sherlock is that when it came to season 3, I don't know. I've not focused too much on the you could maybe make a point. They kind of leaned into the fans for elements of it, but they also showed absolute contempt for the fans. Because if you remember, there's a whole plot point in it where the whole thing was, how did Sherlock survive? That kind of thing.
But that in itself felt like fan service.
They actually
spoilers. I haven't seen.
Have a bunch of characters in it that they used to mock, like all the fans that came together to theorize what happened to Sherlock and how he survived. And then at the end of it, Sherlock literally just gives one of the characters a bullshit story and walks away.
But that, in itself just sounded like that. It almost broke the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, I think, if we're looking at Sherlock and sort of discussing whether it leaned into the fans or didn't, I think, like, maybe you can argue there's a middle ground where they both leaned into some of the stuff the fans wanted, but then also, showed absolute contempt for what the fans kind of wanted to know.
It doesn't help as well that, Stephen Moffat, his stuff always has a shelf life.
Mm.
But sorry, but rather ironically, if you're a writer and you got something that's popular, don't. And you got something that's popular enough to garner fans. The worst thing you could do, ironically, is listen to what those fans think they want, because
they're wrong.
Because then you lose
Not
what
necessarily.
what the fans like. It's almost like
Everybody
fans don't know what they want.
Different.
You lose the artistic integrity there, and it just goes to
so much. I mean, if you completely ruin it, sure, like if the fans are totally wrong, but you can follow the fans and still write a good story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, letting the fans dictate the story can be a really good way to create a story. It creates popular entertainment.
I'm willing to hear you out on this, but just we've given you 2 examples where doing that has killed the show, in my opinion. Are you able to give me an example where listening to the fans has been a net benefit?
I don't follow media, or I don't follow like.
I could give you one that's kind of a mix of both, actually.
Okay, as I say, I like to think of myself as a balanced man. I'm when presented with evidence, I'll.
Let me pitch this to you. Have you all seen Archer?
I love Archer.
Yeah.
No.
The
I
cartoon.
mean, that's something that went downhill from about season 8, 7.
Oh, I
So,
didn't like it.
basically-
I've seen a few episodes.
I never
of it,
really
but not
enjoyed it.
anything dramatic.
Spoiler alert to those who haven't seen the whole thing. But I can't remember what series it is. I think it's end of series 6. They kill Archer
Yeah.
Mhm.
in the pool.
Oh, sorry. Is that? Yeah, that's when it started. I mean, admittedly, Archer
and then-
PI was a bit.
It was a bit dodgy. Archer PI was a bit dodgy, and then you had.
But yeah, I do agree with you. It started going downhill, definitely from
But
Dreamland.
but 7, 8. Sorry, not
6 was PI,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
it? And then Dreamland was 7.
no. 8 was PI.
No,
Dreamland
was
was. Yeah, so it was end of season 7. It was because we're now on series 11.
No, flipping. Let's work backwards. The 10 was the one where they're in space. 9
Yeah.
was Danger
Was
Island.
Desert Island.
8
Yeah.
was it 8 was Dreamland. And
Yes, which was-
7 was PI.
Yes, yeah,
Archer
yeah,
PI,
there
yeah.
we go.
Mhm.
But that's 4 series that were really just filler series. They weren't anything to do with the actual story. They were separate storylines. And with the whole theme of the show being a secret spy agency called ISIS, because that's funny.
I mean, I think that's why they had to kill ISIS, because of the whole thing.
Yes.
But,
Yeah, because of that.
For context, obviously they had. It was called. Was it the International Secret Intelligence Service?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so it was this spy agency that they made up. Yeah.
Yeah.
ISIS.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
I believe it's also the same reason they had to kill off the dog in Downton Abbey, because it was called ISIS.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. But anyway, going back
Yeah.
to the whole ruining and not ruining the show, the reason why those 4 filler series existed was because the fans wanted more Archer. But the writers didn't have any new material for that particular storyline up until he was killed.
Well, no,
So-
I think because Adam Reed went on an
a
interview
good
and
moneymaker.
said I've got stuff prepared up until season 10, and then it's finished. Obviously, now you've got
Yeah.
season 11, which I don't even know if I'm gonna watch because it's not got Adam Reed on board.
Actually, it's actually really good. It's not. I think it's actually better than the filler series because it's got a storyline related to what we had beforehand.
I think it's also kind of victims of circumstance, because I think they never expected that they had to destroy the spy agency they brought up.
No.
For obvious reasons, they had to distance the show from the organization known as ISIS. And so
Yes,
I
Islamic
think it's
State,
kind of a case of like, where do we go from here? Because we've got, like,
Yeah.
I mean, they could have just rebranded the organization and written in a reason for that in universe, I suppose.
But instead, they went in a really funny direction,
Yeah.
which was making it a fucking drug cartel,
Yeah.
which was hilarious.
Coked
Yeah,
Up
that
Archer
was
was pretty good though. Yeah.
Oh, that was so funny.
For
So
me-
funny.
Yeah.
And
for me-
amphetamines Pam.
Oh yeah. Flipping cocaine donuts.
Yeah.
for me, like I think it was. I think season 5 was maybe the last season I really enjoyed, and then I think I watched for 6 and 7, and then I just stopped after that because for me it was as soon as Krieger stopped making me laugh, I was like, oh, this show is in danger.
As soon as Krieger stopped becoming flipping Krieger, he was a parrot in season 9.
Yeah.
Well, it's there, I think just about all of my really fond memories of season 1 to 5 of Archer is just Krieger.
Krieger is the best character.
When Mallory just says to him, "I'm sure you've got some kind of hybrid pig boy." He's like, "What? I don't have one of those anymore."
Yes. Krieger's character is just so sporadically, well, not sporadically funny, just general
If I was the clone of Adolf Hitler, do you not think I'd look like Hitler?
Yeah.
When
It's outbursts of funny.
Yeah, when
Krieger.
they start hallucinating in the offices and he's chasing Cheryl around with the tranquilizer guy. He's like, for the love of God, seal the exits.
And
Archer's a good show.
I did.
Is
And
this
I
the
should
Tank
watch it.
Destroyer?
hey, Sean Benjamin. His voice is just audible sex.
Yeah,
Is this the
yeah.
self-propelled 17 PDR Valentine Mark 1 Archer? No?
What I love it.
Or is it the AA-11 NATO Archer?
No.
The reason I love Archer is because it's one of those series that is difficult to explain to people, and I love those kind of series where you can't easily sum it up. Because I don't know if I actually said her name or not, but I wrote name her. I just called her my girlfriend because she is. We started watching it, and when I was trying to kind of pitch it to her, I had trouble pitching it to her because I was like, okay, so it's about this spy, and he's awful at his job. But then he's also really good. He calls himself the world's greatest spy, and he's really not. But then he actually is a really good spy as well.
Yeah, it's nepotism meets James Bond meets a terrible spy.
But he's really good as well.
And
He is actually a really good spy.
Yeah, that's the James Bond bit. That's the James
he is
Bond
a really
bit.
good spy when he wants to be.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as Jake Peralta in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I really like that
Yeah,
show.
I can get that, but I'd say
Jake
I think of Jake Peralta as just purely he's always a good detective, but then he just knows how to have fun as well. There's no with Archer, there are certainly situations wherein he has jeopardized the lives of his crewmates. I wouldn't say there's ever something like that in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Jake Peralta knows when to shut up and be serious. I wouldn't say Archer has that.
Also, the
East
moral.
Finchley.
I'm pretty sure the moral of the story of Archer, just to close off our Archer conversation, is that Ireland was an Axis power.
Yeah.
Very good.
No, Ireland were neutral.
Oh, the Christian rock
That's one of
band.
my favorite episodes.
That's
just
that's
all I
Christian
know.
rock.
Wait, isn't this about that?
Yeah, because he's just wait, they weren't fighting with us? They were against us? What? They were with the Germans? No, they were neutral.
The amount of times
I like the
Archer
slab serif.
The amount of times Archer is, and I can't believe I'm saying this, please don't take me out of context, lovably racist.
Yes. And he's Sean Benjamin's voice.
The airborne real-time queuing hyperspectral enhanced reconnaissance.
I just... Nickel.
Please do take what Callum said out of context. Please, Nickel, do it.
Also,
I will do.
Also, Nickel, I know it's been a bit of a clusterfuck, but please try and keep it as much of flipping George reading out.
I will do.
The Wikipedia disambiguation page for Archer.
Don't worry. I will be. I'll be keeping that most of that one in. Anyway, I'll do a wee thing into the corners just now. I'm going. So I'll cut.
I'm sorry, George.
Wait, so this is what you described. It's not about that Aardvark cartoon where he was friends with all the animals and he went to school and stuff.
Oh no, that's Arthur.
No. Oh, that's Arthur. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One day when you're walking down the street,
That's
everybody
throwback, yeah.
Do you know what I found out? Sorry,
What?
just before.
It's in
Do you know what I found
Florida.
out? Fucking Steven Crowder was the voice of Brain in the early days of Archer.
Change my
That
mind.
would probably mean something if I knew who Stephen Crowder was.
I know. I
Change
don't
my
know
mind.
who that is.
Nick will cut this out, but he's a bastard.
Explain.
The brain. Wait, the brain. You mean as in Anne Pinky?
No, as in Archer. The Brain. I can't remember what.
Oh, so I thought you were still
the
talking about.
actual
I
character's
thought
name
you were
was.
talking about flipping Arthur.
You mean
Oh,
the Piper
name?
PA-28 Cherokee
Brain?
airplane?
The brain in Archer.
Did he not
What's the
play?
guy's name?
Arthur. In Arthur.
Oh, I swear you
I
said.
can't remember the name of the character, but they always called him the Brain.
How do you
But,
pronounce
like,
this?
He's
Archer.
been
By
through
the-
different, like,
Oh,
voice
wasn't his
actors.
name
in
Brian?
Arthur
was
Wasn't
the
his
first
name
voice
Brian?
actor for it.
And that's why they
Or
called him the
maybe
brain.
They're-
I know who you mean. Yeah.
they're-
Anyway, but
But Steven
who's
Crowder was the
Alright.
voice for him in like 2000 and 2001.
So we've had a wee conversation now about Archer and the other things that George is dabbing, unironically. But we're now going to move on to our wee segments called, we like to call corners, even though there's 6 of us. But I think you still
is
call
a
it a corner. But
septagon. No, not
It's
a
no
septagon, a
longer
hexagon.
72s. That's what that was what it
yeah,
was.
yeah, 70. Yes.
That
yes.
was when we were a
And on,
pentagon.
like,
Now
the
we're a hexagon.
Corners.
Oh, now
Yeah,
we're at hexagon.
So we don't know the
The
actual title.
60s. We're in the
Anyway.
60s.
Anyway, we're going to start today's intellectual discussion, I assume, with Lucy, who
You
is to
assume
my
very,
left.
very wrong.
It is big brain time.
Big
Okay.
brain Lucy time.
Lucy does not have a big brain. Lucy's brain is very small and very dumb, but that's not what I'm talking about. I have multiple things to say today, and none of them are of any importance. First thing, I got honey today, fresh from the bee. That's how I'm going to put it, because my neighbor next door has bees, and they got honey, and he brought it in a wee tiny cute jar. And it's really good, and I ate bread and honey, and I felt like a 9-year-old.
Not
Do
gonna
they have
lie.
birds as well?
Not gonna lie. When you said that, I thought you were doing another ad.
do they have birds
Honey,
as well?
bees.
Do they have birds as well as
Um,
bees?
No, that was very, and it's so nice because it's not got any like chemicals or anything in it. It's, you know, it's like the bee removed it from its system, and then Tony took it out the hive.
I mean, everything has
Bees
chemicals in it.
are chemicals.
I would have
Yeah.
paid you good money to like when they brought it round and you tried it the first time just to right in front of their face go, Ray Liotta, private select.
Oh god, that.
Second thing, all the Nat 5 exams were cancelled 2 days ago, or yesterday, 2 days ago, something like that. And so I'm betting that I really
as
hope-
of the recording date.
like as of recording date. So I hope that if they plan on cancelling my exams, they either do it soon, because I'd like to know now if they're going to cancel it, or I hope they don't cancel them at all. That would suck.
They'll tell you last minute. They
Oh,
will.
well, that's what they did last
not.
year. And so I'm preparing myself now, but so like any class test, I'm like studying for it like it's an exam, because it could go to my final mark.
Yeah.
So that's
And if
not
you do sit
fun.
an exam, you'll find it really easy.
Yeah, when it comes to the exam, I'll be like, oh look, I've done all of these questions in class. I know exactly how to answer them all. So
And
that'll be good.
that's when the teachers will turn around and say, that's why we destroyed your mental health.
I know it's World Mental Health Day today.
Yep.
And it was just
Ooh.
the teacher's like, let's say your mental health, you seem to be great. Do you have any top tips for how to have a good mental health? And I was like, oh my god. What do you think of me? If you think I have a good mental health, what do you think of the people around me?
That's something I take
Oh.
issue with. Everybody's saying like, oh, school, they don't care about you. They destroy your mental health, mate. That's not just school. Life destroys your mental health. In fact, I
Yeah.
have never been happier than when I was in school.
Oh,
my
yeah,
my
I
mental health
agree.
declined rapidly when I left school.
Yeah, I agree. See, as soon as I left school, it was like, oh, what do I do And then I was at uni. I was like, yay, drinking, woohoo! And then I left uni and was like, my life is shit.
It's like
I intend
when
to
you're
stay at
in
uni for
school,
as
when you're
long
in
as
school,
possible.
yeah, it's like, oh, this is the worst thing in the world. But then you look back on it retroactively, and you're like, that shit was great.
No,
Yeah,
I hate
Corona
it.
has really ruined my school year though, because I thought, if Corona wasn't a thing, I'd be loving my 5th year. Because I've learned like 1/3 of my course online, and I don't remember any of it. And now exams have been cancelled, and we might have to get the other exams cancelled, and it's just very unnecessarily stressful, which sucks. But I mean, the teachers are doing the best they can, so you can't really blame them. They don't know what's happening either.
The way I see
No.
it, the only way to have truly perfect mental health is just to live in a constant state of just bliss by having, electrodes bore into your brain, stimulating the pleasure centers of your brain, and just in a state of constant orgasm.
Basically, always having
I
sex.
don't know. I think there are
That's what
a
LSD.
lot of good
Basically
ways
being a
to
porn
improve your
star.
mental health, though. Like, if you were actually
Or
serious,
not anymore.
I think there's. Well, I mean, it depends where you live. Like, if you live out in the countryside, you can go for walks. But if you live in the city, you're stuffed.
Or if you live in England.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess I can't really go walking in folks.
If you live in England, you're just born to be in a mental state your whole life.
I mean, yeah, like,
Scotland's where it's at.
yeah, like, who would want to live in England? Who would be from
Exactly.
England?
Well, my
Hey,
George
George,
for a start.
imagine being from England.
Ew,
So-
gross. Don't be from England.
So, see, when it comes to mental health and things like that, there's something that I'm a huge advocate for positive mental health, and especially through lockdown, there has been loads of people that have just been like, "Oh, this is shit," and yeah, and everybody then the response they get from others, the response I've had when my mental health's been shit is, "You have it better than others."
Yeah,
That's
and
not
that
right,
doesn't
actually.
really work. Yeah.
And that does
No.
not help in the slightest.
But it-
And it actually just made it, especially when it was said to me, it made me feel worse, because for my situation and the way I was feeling back in June, I was just like, yeah, my life felt like it was coming to an end, and I was just like, what's going on? And I was told, you have your job, it's better than other people.
It's whilst true, it's not helpful, because it's
No.
it's definitely like, yes, I've realised as an objective fact there are people starving in Africa. There are people who
Yes.
don't have parents. There are, to quote a Tim Minchin song, some people have it worse than I. But that doesn't change the fact that I am still upset, and I still, need, not help. I need, like, I need
support.
And,
your support right now, and you just basically saying that my feelings are invalid is really not helping.
Yeah, basically.
Then it does the complete opposite, because instead of supporting you, it's shutting you down even more, and it
Yeah.
makes you kind of feel like you don't want to talk to that person because they clearly don't respect your feelings.
Yeah.
I do think it's important to take note and be grateful for the things that we have, because
Oh,
you do
yeah,
feel better if
certainly.
you do that. But you can take that too far, where it can become harmful.
It's just kind of a case of,
Let's also.
whilst it's
just,
true that some people, you have it better than some, it's not helpful.
It's
I
not
think
helpful.
it is. I think it's helpful to an extent. It makes you feel better to feel grateful.
Yes.
But
that's a personal thing, though. Like, that's something you do on your own. It's like, okay, so I know that some people have it worse than me, but that's
Yeah,
something
yeah, you do that
could say to
yourself,
yourself. But
Yeah.
you're talking to someone. That person should be saying comforting things to you, rather than the other.
Like, for
No,
example,
But then again,
yeah.
how do you know to think to yourself that if nobody tells you to think that? It can be difficult to get
Well,
into
no one
that
should.
pattern.
Like, if no one tells you to think that and you don't think, that's fine. You don't need that then. There's a lot more helpful things that other people can tell you than to think of people worse than you.
I guess it's
I wouldn't quite say. I wouldn't quite say that it's okay not to think that, or not to be told to think that, because I think if you've been told once, yeah, okay, fair enough, or if you already acknowledge it, fair enough, because I think it is important to acknowledge the fact that myself, I'm in a full-time job. I've got income coming in, steady income coming in every month, whereas others are still furloughed, even though that's coming to an end, or coming to an end already, actually.
Rishi Sunak.
Yep. And then there's others that have just completely lost their jobs. And it's important to acknowledge and to be grateful for the fact that, yes, personally, I have a job. I'm able to support myself mostly without cutting too many corners, you know. But at the same time, if I was in a state of mind where, because I live on my own and I've got no one here to actually speak to in person,
I feel you.
If I'm just kind of like here, I'm like what on earth what do I do? And it's that point where, like in Bon Jovi's new song, the world does need a big massive hug. Like, while it's in my opinion not the greatest of songs, it is that lyric does kind of say something to me from the point of everyone needs a hug at the moment, because everyone is feeling the similar things in different ways.
Human contact is a necessity.
I totally feel what you're saying then, NickH, because I do realise, back to the thing, I realise that I am slightly better than you in that I am currently in a very happy relationship, and you are happily single. Nothing wrong with being single, I've always said that.
No, I know.
But the fact being, she's actually here at the moment, I'm by myself, and the isolation has been getting to me.
Yeah, I'm stuck with her.
Mm.
Yeah.
When you're so used to be living with somebody. When you're so used to having someone there to talk to comfort, to hug at the end of the day, and to just vent to, is a sole point in human contact that's a necessity, especially if you're used to it. If you're used to being on your own and you're used to complaining to people over the phone, then same thing. Myself, I complain to people, or to the wall. I complain to people over the phone, but I try to keep it to a minimum because I don't like talking to people over the phone. I prefer talking to people face to face.
They're your customers. Don't do that to them.
I feel like...
Hello, I'd like to buy the new Goof. Fuck off!
No, but like customers call you and then you complain to them. That's not very good business.
Well, I'm not call center, remember?
Well, you used to.
Did they complain to you?
Yes, I used to, but
can I just
not
say
anymore.
Something about the whole some people have it better than you. And this is probably a horrendous bastardization and a magnificent oversimplification. But it's kind of like if you say to someone, and indeed are, and you say, "Oh, I'm hungry," and somebody says, "Oh, there are people in Africa hungrier than you," it doesn't stop the fact like you could do a fucking sandwich.
Yeah.
Also, I just
hi, hungry. I'm Dad.
It doesn't stop you being hungry.
Yeah. Also, it's like important to remember that phrases like "there's people that have it worse with you," like, there's this annoying culture that you have to deserve the feeling of shittiness.
Totally.
You literally never need to, like, if you don't know the reason you're feeling shit, or for all you know, there's not a clear reason. Maybe you know, could be just chemicals out of whack, or maybe you're just not having a great day. Maybe you're tired. You literally need no reason whatsoever. You know, you deserve that support, regardless of whether you can identify a reason, whether there's much of a reason at all.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And also, I feel like I also hate that phrase, you know, you've got it better than some people, or others have it worse. Is you know, if they're saying others have it worse, you think they're probably talking about like homeless people, or again, like people in third world countries. But here's the thing about that is they're they're saying like, well, this is the support I'm giving you while you're feeling, you know, shit, but like you're in a decent place. It gives this impression, in order for you to have deserve actual support and to actually be able to voice your concerns, you've got to be in a position where systematically you will not be listened to, will not get any support. You know,
kind of on that point. There's something I've been thinking about recently. I don't know if this is a good conversation topic but we'll see how it goes. Basically, I wouldn't describe myself as poor, either financially or numeric, or morally even.
No.
Kind of spiritually. But you know how people there's that famous phrase, oh, money can't buy happiness, and I totally agree with that. But whenever I'm worrying about being able to pay rent or whatever, I can't help feeling that I understand, money can't buy happiness, but it must be nice to be in a position that you don't have to worry about if you can pay the next bill or whatever.
Yeah.
Can I make a point to disagree with you? I think the statement, money can buy you happiness, is false. Because I feel like...
Maybe contentment, but not happiness, if you see what I mean.
If I had loads of money, I was able to go out and oh, that's a cute jacket. Yoink. That would make me happy because that's something I enjoy doing. Or going onto my Amazon wishlist and just buying a new book because I enjoy reading, and buying that's going to make me happy. As well as
I think
going
it's
out
like
to
lessons. It can buy instant happiness, but that happiness doesn't last.
Yeah, and that's just materialistic goods. I would disagree with.
It doesn't.
I would.
I think it's true that money doesn't buy happiness, but money does cure sadness. I think the fact that you can.
Yeah, because that's kind of what I'm saying.
I can't say that I agree.
No,
I think that people find things to worry about no matter what their situation is.
Oh yeah, but
even if you're in the best situation, you will create problems to worry about them. Even if they're not actual problems, you will create them and worry about them. So I don't think having money would stop you from worrying.
No, you will worry, but the problems that you did have could, if you have money problems because you can't pay rent, with money, the worry that you can't pay rent will be gone. You might have a new worry, but that worry will be gone.
I do kind of get George's point, where you don't never have problems. It's just if you cure one problem, it will be replaced with another one. I do kind of understand where George is coming from with that.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing to go about, there's a thing to both of them is there's definitely this human nature of, finding the problem in whatever situation, but also sort of extending William's point. There's that degree, if you're not financially well off, this world will fuck you over. In as many ways as it possibly can. Going a bit to the darker end of things here. The kind of phrase I've seen sort of popping up here and there, it might have come from one tweet in particular, I can't remember, was if we're talking about suicide prevention, affordable housing is suicide prevention, universal healthcare is suicide prevention, because all these different things, if if you're in, say, America and you have to make the decision not to get an ambulance because it costs money, if you're in that kind of precarious situation, that's gonna really fuck you over mentally.
Yeah.
And it's that thing is, there's always this thought that suicidal feelings are just like mental health thing. It's like, oh, they're feeling suicidal, that's just mental illness. But it's like, well, maybe someone looks at their life and when, if you actually listen to, the situations of people who are suicidal, yes, there are those that are driven, largely just by a mental health issue they've struggled with for a long time. But there's also that huge segment that are they're having these struggles in life that reasonably you want that to end, because some of them are so fucking cruel and relentless and just punish you year after year, whether it's financial issues. And in this world, you cannot blame someone for not seeing a way out of that, because often there isn't. You know, if you're in financial difficulties, you are far from guaranteed a way out of that. And if that's really fucking over your life,
that could be anything. Like that could be like something completely different to money. Like, I don't know, someone realizes that humans are destroying this planet so much that they think, you know, I don't want to live in a world like this.
Yeah.
And that's got nothing to do with money or mental illness.
Yeah.
I have another topic that was on my list. Right. So I've just started. Right. I feel like I'm really gonna get judged for this, and I'm really prepared for everyone to absolutely hate me. Right. That's coming now. I've started reading Twilight again.
Okay.
Or kind of listening to it, because I'm a really big fan of the Twilight. Saga.
The Twilight. So,
the Twilight.
Hello, fellow kids. I'm a fan of the Twilight.
A daily occurrence.
I really like the books, and I really enjoy the films, and I think I also really like the music from it, which is a massive thing when it comes to
you know what,
watching
the music
films.
is good. I'll give you that.
George, you look like Harry Potter. Wrong fandom.
Close enough.
And I feel like
they both have werewolves, right?
Does Harry Potter have werewolves?
And contains the same actor.
Remus Lupin. But also, like, as soon as new Twilight book came out, Midnight Sun, very good. I highly recommend it, but I don't think any of you will read it. I bought it straight away. I was so excited. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. See, with Twilight, I really like the books. I really like.
Are they any good?
They are fantastic. I'm
listening to the audiobook right now. I have 6 hours to go.
How are you listening to the audiobook, by the way?
Traveling the world with Audible. I'm listening to my book from Audible.
No,
Audible sponsor me.
Genuinely think that the books are amazing. I'm not a huge fan of the movies because of a certain actress who will remain nameless for her emotionless acting.
Callum, remember when?
No, I know exactly.
Remember when we went to see the movies together and you threw up at the cinema?
Was that in reaction to the movies, or was that?
I mean,
probably, it was that bad.
This anecdote is true, but the two are not correlated.
Yes.
No, I think I quite like some of the acting in it.
I forgot about that.
But some of the certain actress and her emotionless acting is really. But I quite and this.
Sorry, the interesting thing is, like, I will not say. I will say I have not seen the Twilight films. I have not read the books.
I don't recommend them.
I know how the acting is in the films, and I just find it interesting because, like, obviously I've watched what's her name? Kristen Stewart. Yeah,
woman who cannot
like
close
I saw
her
her
mouth.
in the film about the professor that can't remember the name of the film, but she's
the one you're on
really
about.
good in that.
Yeah, because the role isn't
the Nutty Professor.
Doesn't require any emotion.
Someone who possesses emotional capabilities. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do enjoy the films. I like, if I had the choice, if it was like watch Twilight or watch something else, I'd go with Twilight. I really like it, but I feel like the acting could have been better. I mean, it depends what something else was. Like, I'm also a really big fan of How to Train Your Dragon. Like, it's intense that I will watch that film on repeat, like the full series. I listened to the music. In my maths class the other day. Yes, I have. No, I haven't.
Yes, I have seen the How to Train Your Dragon anime.
I have not. No.
Wait, what?
The 3D rendered anime.
No, I have not. I'm really confused. But
by
like,
the famous
in my
animation studio, by the famous flipping anime studio Dreamworks.
Ah, yes.
Pixar.
But in my class, the only music I had downloaded on my phone was, the How to Train Your Dragon. So I would like to say, while doing my optimization, listen to John Pell and his magnificent orchestra, and it was amazing. And it was really good.
Now, whilst we're talking about emotionless actors, I suppose, it just dawned on me that flipping is
Still game. They're motionless, aren't they?
Sorry?
Still game.
I got you. I got you.
Ignore me.
Is Benedict Cumberbatch really as good an actor as everybody says? Because think about it.
No.
He only ever plays roles where the character is totally incapable of comprehending human emotion. Sherlock, flipping Enigma bloke, Alan Turing, flipping Star Trek.
Really
What's his
good
face?
film.
What's his face?
It's fantastic.
I think
Khan,
that's
it.
just I think those are just the roles that suit him the best. I don't know if it's because he has no comprehension of emotion.
He's being
but I think it's
he just does serious very well, and
yes,
and
I think it's because of the way that he presents himself from a spoken point of view and from an appearance point of view.
He's posh.
Wait a minute, he voiced the dragon in
Smaug,
thing.
yeah.
Smaug, yeah. Like, come on,
Smaug,
that's emotion and a half, isn't it? Smaug, yeah.
No, I'm sure.
Have you
it's
seen
Smaug.
his acting? You know, like when he's got the suit on, the footage of him sort of walking around. Yeah, come on, that's emotion, right?
I mean, it certainly makes me feel.
I think he was really good.
Yeah.
With Benedict Cumberbatch,
Yeah,
I think, like he may very well possess some incredible acting abilities outside of what he does, but he's also the easiest actor to just typecast.
Yeah.
And just, keep in that one role the entire time. I think that's kind of what's happened,
And of course.
Like Jim Carrey prior to like Truman Show.
Yeah.
Just keep putting them in the same role and then eventually they'll do something different and it'll be
of course with
He's not the easiest actor to type fast though.
He invented the computer.
But speaking of Benedict Cumberbatch, we can't forget penguins.
Penguins.
Yeah. Because
Don't you mean? Yeah, I was about to say, don't you mean penguins?
Oh yeah, penguin.
Yeah.
I found out I remember the name of the film, by which I mean I looked it up. It's called Still Alice. That's the one with Kristen Stewart.
Thank you everybody for watching today. It has been a rather roller coaster ride this evening. We've spoken about the music and creative arts industry. We've spoken about some random crap, mainly television programs.
Condition.
And the human conditions and
human brain,
mental health.
Have you ever wondered what's inside your head?
It's all mush. Anyway,
does it matter?
For watching.
A grey matter.
It's made of matter.
I've been NickH. We've got TouchySquirrel. I am Anime. Big Chungus. Lucy.
I am Anime.
And to get his name fully correct this time, let's get it right.
Anime.
Dan Yeet Yeeto Yeet. And we are off. Goodbye, everybody.